What's up, guys? This is Corey, also known as QC Rideshare. Just hit you guys with another one to quickly talk about something that I really had to kind of reset with the way that I do Uber and Lyft. And I always tell you guys that I'm going to come to you the with the most authentic feelings that I have about a situation, um, and that is I need to get back to basics. Um, I kind of got out of balance with some of my platforms, and I really wasn't working them the way that I needed to be working them, because I think sometimes whenever there's a new platform, a new player in the game, you have this exuberant optimism of, you know what, this is going to be something that really takes me to another level. This is going to help me expand my business. But and I wasn't taking my own advice. I always talk about diversifying, or I always talk about really making sure that I'm multi-platform, and but I wasn't working multi-platforms. And so that's something that I really had to kind of realize with myself, is that I was really putting a lot of eggs in one basket. And so I had to take a step back and really look at, what made me the most money. And a lot of times I joke with different YouTubers, if the goal is to make money, then the one that makes you the most money, or the strategy that makes you the most money, that's going to be the one that you probably want to go with. And so the times when I made the most money was when I was multi-platform. And that's why I always talk about it, because I've seen it personally, the benefits of it. So the times that I made the most money were when I had shipped about 25 to 35% of my income. Uber, Lyft, same thing, about 25 to 35% of my income. And other platforms or side hustles also being in there as well. Those are the times when I made the most money. And so what I'm realizing is, in order for me to make the most money, is I have to make sure that I'm multi-platform at all times. Now, granted, that could be different for you. In your market, you're going to be able to see what ways work the best. You may see, my market, there's really not a Shipped in my market. There may be a Caviar. There may be a different company, but those companies may be getting up and they're not really going. So I really have to put a lot of my efforts into Uber and to Lyft. And I have to apologize because I really haven't been doing a lot of videos on Uber and Lyft, because I did a lot early on just them. So I'm going to be doing some more content on that later. But when I talk about getting back to basics, I guess what I'm talking about is not so much just working differently, is also your attitude towards work. For me, the best way that I work is when I have a schedule. And a lot of times, and it was kind of fun, every Sunday, because I take Sundays and Mondays off. Every Sunday, I would sit down, talk to my wife, and we would go through the schedule, and we'll work backward. I like to work my schedule backwards. So I start on Sunday, which is a day off, and work backwards and fill in my hours. And I would joke with her, like, what days are the boss lady going to let me work this week? And so I really, that was the best way to work for me. Now, when I was unbalanced, I was just picking up jobs. There's a job out there, I gotta get it. There's a job out there, I gotta get it. And that was fine, but it wasn't optimized. It wasn't using my being efficient in order to make the most money in the least amount of time, and also allow me the opportunity to work my other platforms. So being efficient, and also making sure that when I'm working, I'm only working Shipped when it's busiest. I'm only working Uber when it's busiest. I'm only working Lyft when it's busiest, because if you're doing that, then the amount of time that you're putting forth in these platforms can be decreased. Because if the only time that you work Uber and the only time you work Lyft, you end up the times when you average $20 to $25 an hour, and the times when you work Shipped are the times when you can average about $18 to $22 an hour, then you're always going to be in a situation when you're making the most money for the time that you're working. And so that's something that I'm really understanding is the best way that I have to operate. I have to work in a way that cashes in on what I already know because I've been doing this long enough, but also cashes in what I know about my market and the platforms that I'm working with. Now, granted, there's always going to be new opportunities. I was hoping Uber Eats would be in Charlotte by now. It's not. And I've been watching Uber dudes videos like crazy, trying to learn everything I can about Uber Eats. And Teresa asks her videos on Uber Eats, and Uber Toya ATL, her videos on Uber Eats, because I want to get ready for those things. But right now, that's not there here, so that's not a reality for my market. But when it is, then that's when, again, I have to come back. What's going to be the basics? Because at the end of the day, because I know my financial baseline, or I know my number, how much I need to make each week, I already know what the standard is for me to make more money this week. So I can't have a week where I'm experimenting with something if I don't have an offset for that. So there's always going to be somebody who wants to enter the market and wants to cash in on our abilities, because the gig economy employees, the gig economy people, we're a special, unique kind of people, because it's not hard for somebody to work at a company and work 9 to 5. It takes a risk for somebody to say, I want to. Guys, this is Corey. I don't know what happened. My video stopped. Then I recorded it again. Then I recorded it again. And this is the 4th time I'm recording this. So hopefully the last piece of this video will come through. So what I was talking about is that essentially there are plenty of companies that are going to try to take the opportunity to cash in on you as an individual. They want to be in the business of you. You have to make sure you are ready for that opportunity. When you look at the basics of what these platforms are, they are essentially company needs to integrate their technology with the use of an individual's expertise, smarts, or ability to make their business plan viable. So when you look at Uber, it's essentially you are willing to drive your vehicle at your expense to drive one of their customers from point A to point B. Now, yes, there is a layer of technology that they use to make that happen, but the same notion, without you as the individual, there really is no Uber, there is no Lyft, there is no any of these platforms. Same thing with Ship. Ship needs you to grocery shop, so they need you to understand what's a good product, a quality product to give to their customer to better that experience. So once you understand your value, you understand what you need from these platforms, you understand the financials that you need to get out of them, it makes it so much easier to hit that reset button from time to time. I always talk about it when I say take a break from platforms, and I don't say that just to just throw something out there just so that I can get impressions or whatever. I say it because it's necessary. I say it because you will get burnt out doing this. Essentially, even a traditional business owner, when they are running a business, they have a clientele or a clientele that they're working with consistently, or they have a storefront, or they have a product or something like that. Your product is you. Your storefront or your ability to make money are platforms that you actually don't get to know the special sauce to. So you really need to actually diversify and really make those opportunities available to yourself by understanding what you bring to the table. Therefore, you can value yourself accordingly. When you do that, you will truly have the advantage of seeing that you get to grow as a business, you grow as a business person, you get to spot good opportunities earlier, you'll spot bad opportunities earlier. But not to kind of get too far on the left field, I will try to go ahead and post with this video, or at least put in the description a link to like a mock calendar so that you can really see what that looks like so that you can see how you can plan your week in advance. I would always say that if you're going to do a calendar, start it on a Monday, just like the platforms do, so you can kind of make sure that you're working in the same vein as they are. Also, make sure that when you're doing these different platforms, that you have the opportunity to spend time with your family, to make sure that you can, if you have a child that is not feeling well, or your spouse isn't feeling well, you're able to take the time to be home with them. So any schedule that I'll show you will probably max out about 45 hours per week. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Hope and pray that it actually saves properly. Until the next one, peace.